Hey, me and Matt here, and I'm Killer Kyle. Welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. Hey, me and Matt here. This is Killer Kyle. And welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury. And we're gonna do another double episode.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's Summerslam. And I thought last week, I mentioned it, we're gonna do the first video, the best of, or the best. And then the second video will be the worst. In my opinion. I don't know if you will agree, but...
Oh, I have a feeling when we get to the second one, there's gonna be a whole lot of wrestling going on.
Oh, yeah.
Dig it!
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
So... to 1992, Wembley Stadium, London, England, and the first so far to have a Big Four in...
Emulate from across the pond.
Exactly. Which is unfortunate, but I mean, back then, I don't really think they gave a shit, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure what changed over the years. I mean, they still do several shows in the United Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
An episode of Monday Night Raw, or Raw and SmackDown.
Insurrection. No, that's not it. Yeah, well, you had pay-per-views in London, or England, you know, so I mean, yeah, you still had that, but it was like, no Big Four, you know?
No.
I'm still waiting for the day where you can have Wrestlemania Wembley, or the Tokyo Dome, or, well, I can't say Arena Mexico, because it's not that big, but anyways, it's just interesting to me why that hasn't happened in a long time.
Yeah.
Since then, but this obviously is my favorite SummerSlam. You know, I was 8 years old, just got into WWF, and my first pay-per-view that I remember is SummerSlam 92, and the lead-up to it as well. Just the whole, you could say cartoon aspect of it.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. But just that whole thing really attracted me to the sport.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, SummerSlam 92 is definitely highly talked about all of these years later, and whether you talk about Bulldog and Bret, or Undertaker and Kamala, or Legion of Doom and
Money
Inc., or, you know, any other match on that card. I think probably the most talked about match from that evening was Bret and Bulldog for the IC title.
Exactly.
So, yeah, all in all, a really, really good event.
I'll mention the pre-show match afterwards, I guess.
Right.
That was a fun match, but anyways, we start off with Crush versus Repo Man.
Yeah, this match was really interesting because you have Crush as this unstoppable Hawaiian juggernaut, if you will. And of course, Barry Darsow, or Repo Man, and his, at this point, probably third gimmick, I would say, in the early part of the 90s. And I mean, let's call a spade a spade. At this point, he was a jobber.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. When he was a part of Demolition, multiple time tag team champion, and highly regarded as one of the best tag teams of all time. And then once he transitioned into the Repo Man, it just went all downhill from here. And then, of course, he tries to redeem himself over in WCW as the Blacktop Bullion. Once you start a downhill slide, it's impossible to stop.
Yeah, it's exactly true. One thing I will say, and obviously didn't notice as a kid very much, but watching Barry's interviews as Repo Man now,
Right.
fucking hilarious.
Oh, I know.
This guy was over the top,
Yeah.
and he had the most vicious matches with that rope and hook or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But just the over-the-top delivery in this guy.
Oh, yeah.
You can't help but laugh your ass off sometimes.
And I mean, it's not for Barry trying. I mean, he tried everything he could to make that Repo Man character believable, if you will. And, talking about stealing cars and, breaking into people's houses and,
Yes.
all this other stuff. And yeah, like Matt said, just the over-the-top delivery, it just seemed to be his in-ring work just... They turned him into a jobber. Like, he was still good and could still wrestle and could still go, but his win and loss record wasn't the greatest at this point in his career.
What's yours is mine, and what's mine is mine too!
Yeah.
And it's like, Crush, again, here's a guy that went through the Kona Hawaii Crush,
Mm-hmm.
the Kabuki Crush, and obviously, the DOA Crush
Yeah.
/ Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Bryan Adams is probably the most, in my opinion, I don't know if you agree, underrated wrestler.
Yeah, I would definitely say underrated because, he had the adaptations of Crush, Hawaiian, and, Kabuki, and, the DOA and the Nation, and even the short period of time he was the third man of Demolition. So, in essence, you have you could almost say a Demolition reunion with, Repo Man and Crush, but but for sure, Crush, definitely underrated performer, and I remember, him as Crush, and then several years later, it was 97, I want to say, 97, 98-ish, Bryan Adams and Brian Clark as Chronic, that Crush and Atom Bomb. They did fairly well for themselves as a team in WWF. Very highly underrated performer, Crush. Did Crush hold the Intercontinental title?
No, he never held a title. Although, he might have been a champion in WCW. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we may have had the tag titles as a member of Chronic, I'm not sure.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, he never won a title in WWF, as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he wasn't in the Invasion.
No.
So, I mean, yeah. Again, another wrestler that we lost that never really made it too big in WWE.
Yeah.
Or WWF for that matter. But
Right.
I mean, yeah, a very good match. I believe Crush won actually.
I think so, yeah.
So, Shaka brother.
Shaka. Now we go on to a tag team match with the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal against Money Inc., the team of $1 Million Man, and Erwin Arceister, IRS.
Hell yeah. What a match.
One thing that I remember from this match, like the match itself was really great, but the one thing that really stood out and still stands out is their entrance,
Oh yeah.
riding the motorcycles to the ring. You know, at this point, Paul Ellering had Rocco,
yeah.
the dummy manager.
Yeah. No. It's funny because you hear people say, you know, oh, the Road Warriors come over to WWE and now they have a stupid gimmick with a dummy. It's like, well, it kind of freaked me out when I was a little child, but I mean, what dummy didn't?
Mm.
It's kind of like, yeah, you know, it is campy. At the time, WWF was, you know, more geared towards kids. So you would have that type of gimmick in a way.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how they came up with the idea for Rocco,
Well, they found him in a junkyard in a vignette.
or why
Well, yeah.
they did the Rocco thing. And I mean, I'm sure Paul probably would have had to do some training to, you know, get the timing right of, you know, moving the dummy's mouth and talking without using, you know, moving your lips, moving your mouth. So that's a very difficult thing to do, especially getting the pronunciation of certain words without, you know, moving your mouth, moving your lips.
Yeah.
There are quite a few ventriloquists that are, you know, highly popular. Of course, one that I'm a fan of, and I'm sure Matt's a fan of too, Jeff Dunham.
No.
You got Darcy Lynn, what was his name? He was on America's Got Talent, he won the season.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a skill to, well, I think you have to practice talking without moving your mouth, and then, you know, getting the timing right of, there's a lever inside the back of the dummy that you move, or squeeze to, you know, move the dummy's mouth and just get the timing right between what you're saying and moving the dummy's mouth, and it's synchronized, and yeah. And I'm sure, like, those people I mentioned, like, Darcy Lynn, she's, I think, like, teenager by now.
Yeah.
And she, too, was on America's Got Talent, and I think at that point, she was, like, 7 or 8 years old, and she, you know, the story of her getting into it, because just doing the ventriloquism thing, because she was this, you know, very isolated, kind of shy child, and so the ventriloquism was her way of kind of opening up and coming out of her shell, and, you know, she ends up on America's Got Talent. She won it, and then, you know, she's become super, super popular.
Yeah.
Now, the Rocco thing didn't last very long, and then, of course, it wouldn't be too much longer before Paul basically turned on Hawk and Animal
Yes.
and aligned himself with Skull and 8-Ball,
1997.
or, you know, Ron and Don Harris. A lot of people may know them as
Yeah.
later part of the 90s.
And the thing is, you know, you have Road Warriors to come back to WWF and WrestleMania 8,
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, obviously feud with Money Inc.
Yes.
Money Inc. was a really good tag team.
Yes.
And, of course, tag team champions, I think twice.
I believe so, yeah.
And so this was a good match. There was a rumor that Mike was either drunk or hungover. I don't even know.
Yeah.
but they won.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, this was still a really good match. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm not quite sure how long the feud lasted, but
Yeah.
I mean, Road Warriors stayed in WWE for probably a year and a half.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, up to this point.
Right.
So now we have a match between Nails and Virgil. Oh boy.
Two guys that just could not get the ball rolling as far as in-ring IQ, let's say. You know, you had Virgil be the manager, manager bodyguard of the $1 Million Man for many years, and then, he had enough, turned his back on $1 Million Man, went on his own. He did win the $1 Million Championship, but, it just, there's something about it that just didn't click.
No.
And then Nails is this convict that feuded a little bit with Big Boss Man, and he had this really, whenever he talked, it was voiced over or whatever.
Yeah, it was like, made to feel lower than his actual voice.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he wasn't that talented of a wrestler.
No.
All he did was choke people.
Yeah.
Ask Vince McMahon. But, I mean, yeah, and Virgil, I wish would have gotten bigger in the WWF.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a pretty good stint in WCW. You can go all the way back to USWA.
Mm-hmm.
He was the American Uncle Sam type character. But this was probably my least favorite match, the least best match in SummerSlam 92.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, Nails ended up winning, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't think Virgil ever had any good luck.
No.
I mean, fuck, he basically got squashed by Yokozuna in Survivor Series of that year.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. I just remember seeing a picture of Virgil. I don't remember the year, but he was at one of those convention things, and you'd have all the legends go over this convention for people to sign their get an autograph from them, picture, whatever, and it'd be like IRS and $1 Million Man, maybe Greg the Hammer Valentine, maybe Brutus Barber, whoever they booked, and there's Virgil sitting at a table, nobody around. He's just sitting there, twiddling his thumbs like a lump on a log. He's like, poor fucking bastard.
well, he just wanted that fuck money.
Right.
But I mean, yeah, he was known to be that kind of person. He actually, apparently, paid people to get an autograph or something if they wanted one. He would, I don't know, get them to pay. That's a rumor, that's what I heard, but whatever. He didn't go nowhere. I think he appeared in TNA once.
Yeah. He did have a little, about a year, I'd say, stint in WCW.
Yeah.
Vincent in the NWO. Yeah. And he was actually very talented performer. I don't know. I don't think he shut the bed. I don't think he pissed anyone off. Like I said, he was very talented. He could speak, but it was few and far between, and it just, I don't know. So something went wrong somewhere, and he just never really went anywhere.
Well, that's the thing I heard too, and you can watch Brian Tane's video on Virgil or Mike, whatever his last name is, but like, it was apparent that his promos were the shits.
Well, yeah.
He couldn't talk that well, but, he tried at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, just another lost opportunity, and yeah.
Yeah, and then of course, the whole thing with Nails choking Vince. Like, well, you said the bad there, bud.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, is your career now? That's the one thing I could say about Virgil, is he had much more of a career.
Yeah, I don't know. With Nails, after I'm sure, got fired by WWE, WWF, went independent, went somewhere else. Don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Now we go on to Shawn Michaels against Mark Martel. Yeah.
It's ego versus ego.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels, months earlier, broke it off with Marty Jannetty,
Yes.
went on his own, had a sensational Sherry Martel, no relation.
Mm-hmm.
And very cool to see that, even though I was never a fan of Shawn Michaels, I can't deny how charismatic, in a way, his character was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, evolving through the years, but that's how it started. You know, with his white, whatever, vest with the hearts on
Mhm.
it, and the glasses, and, you know, pushing Sherry to the ground and looking into the mirror as she holds it in front of him.
Yeah.
But then you had Rick Martel, the guy from Montreal, Quebec, who was billed from Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the cologne and the beret and whatever. And, you know, his feud that year, long feud
Mm-hmm.
with Tatanka.
Yes.
So, I mean, this was a good match too. And I think that Shawn really proved himself as a singles wrestler.
Oh, absolutely.
But don't forget the take team of Tito Santana and Rick Martel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, that was like years before.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, this was a really good match.
Yeah, and then, of course, it ended up being WrestleMania 4, where Rick turned on Tito.
Yes.
Yeah. Then he became model, and yeah, went from there. But the thing is, I don't really remember when Rick went on his own solo career, him winning a championship.
See, there's another thing. He never won a championship in WWE. I know that in WCW he won the U.S. title,
Yes.
which is kind of fucking hilarious. A bunch of Canadians had held the U.S. title.
Surprisingly, yes.
So, I mean, that was pretty cool. Other than that, I don't know. I know that he had the AWE title.
Yes. Yes.
And so, there's that. Now,
Mhm.
unfortunately, never had the title anywhere, although, weren't him and Tito the tag team champions?
I believe so, yes.
So, he did have the title there,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Obviously, I wish he would come back. Because he's still fairly young enough, and I believe he's still in good shape.
Most likely.
So,
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him come back. I don't really know what he's doing nowadays. Don't remember if he opened up his own wrestling school.
yeah.
I think so, maybe, but anyways, yeah.
Now we have a WWE Tag Team Championship match. We've got Earthquake and Typhoon, one of my favorite wrestlers of the 90s,
Mhm.
favorite tag team of the 90s,
Yes.
versus the Beverly Brothers, Bo and Blake.
Yeah.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Earthquake and Typhoon. One of the few tag teams in WWF, WWE that were really big dudes. Now, not necessarily, you know, the caliber of like a Big Show and Kane, or a Big Show and Undertaker, or whoever else you want to throw in there. But they were like, I think 400 pounds apiece.
Yeah, I mean, the first recollection when I saw them as a kid was, wow, we can have overweight people with WWE. I mean, that's how they looked, but I'm pretty sure it was just all pure muscle,
Maybe.
I guess. And I mean, John Tenta being a sumo wrestler in Japan for a while. Well, one of the first Canadian sumo wrestlers.
Yes.
And of course, Fred Ottoman was Tugboat before, and then joined Earthquake as Typhoon. But yeah, this was a very good tag team, and you know, whether they were a heel team with Jimmy Hart or a face team by themselves, it was.
Yeah.
And they had very good feuds with a lot of wrestlers, the Nasty Boys, Money Inc., the Beverly Brothers, fuck, even Legion of Doom.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a shame that both of them never had singles titles.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, Earthquake went off on his own after and before natural disasters, I know that.
Right.
I mean, he had that thing with Jimmy Hart and Dino Bravo.
Yep.
You know, he had that sumo match with Yokozuna.
Mm-hmm.
And that WrestleMania 10 match with Adam Bomb. You know, Typhoon actually didn't really have much of a singles career after that.
No, I mean...
Which is interesting.
Yeah, he did the natural disaster thing, did the tugboat character, and then, you know, nothing was really seen from him for a little while, and then he goes to WCW and debuts as a Shockmaster. Ah, fuck.
I know, yeah.
Poor Fred.
Fred as the Shockmaster, John as Shark, and Avalanche, and finally as himself.
Yes.
Yeah, you could say their WCW career was the shits.
Yeah, not that good.
So,
Interesting, yes. But, you know, as far as, like, title worthy, no. Sadly, no.
no.
Then, of course, you have the untimely passing of John to bladder cancer.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fucking shame.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we got to see his match at the Gimmick Battle Royal.
Yeah.
You know, just not knowing what was going to happen to him shortly after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a terrible loss. Could they have gotten back together? Probably.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was a shame that, you know, Earthquake came out and you had Tugboat coming out.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they teamed together during that match.
No.
So that, to me, was a missed opportunity.
Yeah. And you know the thing about when Fred went to WCW and he was the Shockmaster, he had dropped a considerable amount of weight.
Yeah.
He was really in good shape. And I think if you look at, let's say, photos of him now, he still looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you got the Beverly Brothers. Gotta talk about them at some point. Yeah. These guys, unfortunately, never had the tag team titles.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because they definitely were a good heel team in
Yeah.
the 90s, you know. And it sucks. And honestly, don't know what happened after they left.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Yeah.
The genius Lanny Poffo managed Blake and Bo for a little while.
Yeah, you know, and after that, it was like, I mean, he had a career more than they did afterwards.
Yeah.
Again, wish they were the tag team champions, but that never really fucking happened.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this was a good match, but yeah, natural disasters ended up going over.
Yeah. So then we go on to this match. This match actually was pretty good. You got, ooh yeah, Macho Man Randy Savage, and in a battle of the intensity guys in WWF at this point. Ultimate Warrior.
Oh man, those interviews. You know, me and Gene used to stand up on the podium, away from the ring. You know, and the interviews that Savage and Warrior would have. I mean, Macho Man was the reason that I got into wrestling.
Right.
You know, his intensity, his charismatic personality, the outfits,
Yeah.
flashy as fuck. And it was just, I mean, at that time he didn't win a lot of matches, but just the fact that, you know, carrying the WWF title and still being that guy, you know, Warrior definitely was my brother's favorite as well, and
Right.
it was just kind of a great tragedy in a way. I mean, Jim Hellwig, if he would have gotten his shit together, would have stayed in the WWF longer.
Yeah.
I mean, being released that year and then coming back in '96,
Yeah.
it was just like, I don't even know. But I mean, this was a good match too. I mean, except for the fuck up with Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, Perfect comes down and he watches the match, and you know, is he gonna side with the Macho Man or the Ultimate Warrior? But then, of course, you know, Ric Flair comes out. Now, they team on Randy after the match. They beat him up. Now, obviously, Macho Man won, retained the title. And it didn't need to go down like that, unfortunately, and yeah. I mean, this was a good match otherwise, you know, and this wasn't their first encounter either.
No.
You had them at WrestleMania 7.
Yep.
You know, Macho King versus Warrior, Career versus Career. And this was a good match as well. But yeah, SummerSlam 92, I would say the lead up was far more better than this match.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. There's a lot of build up for what, I guess.
Yeah. High build up, low expectations. The ends didn't justify the means, whatever you want to say.
Yeah. Now in this match we've got Huss! We've got the Berserker versus Tatanka. And I am not even gonna attempt that. But anyways.
Yeah, it won't go well, I think.
Yeah. No, I've talked about Tatanka enough over the years and how much it pains me to know that he never won the championship of any kind in WWF.
Yeah.
This match was good. You know, these two guys, again, you talk about character work, and I'm not even sure what Berserker really came from, except the fact that he kind of took from Bruiser Brody, but
Sort of, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Tatanka was also very cool as well. I mean, you talk about an actual Native American, you know, not like Chief J. Strongbow, but I mean, an actual Native American who, unfortunately, didn't get what he deserved. And I mean, it sucks. Even his comeback in 2003
Yeah.
didn't last very long. But I believe Berserker won.
I believe so, yeah.
So, and you know, he also had Mr. Fuji in his corner. And we all know how great of a manager that he was.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Really, really good manager. Whether it be managing the likes of Berserker or Yokozuna or Demolition or
Crush.
or the Powers of Pain
Yeah.
or can't exactly remember who else he managed, but yeah. Very, very good manager. Very, very good heel manager.
Yeah, and I mean, he went downhill really fast, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And he at least was inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
He passed away a few years after that.
Yeah.
And yeah, one of the best managers of all time.
Then, of course, if you watched back the 70s,
Oh yeah.
him and Professor Toru Tanaka,
Yeah.
that tag team.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting to me, I found out years ago that, because looking him up, because I like to look people up, he was actually from Hawaii.
Right, yes, yes.
And, his parents, obviously, from Japan, so
Yeah.
that was kind of interesting, but anyways, yeah. We have this match, very good match, and this won't be the first one this year, but you have The Undertaker in his first Summerslam
Yep.
versus the Ugandan giant Kamala.
Yeah. And one thing that was really, really well done on the part of, I can't remember his real name, but he's this, character that doesn't talk and slaps his belly and he's got
Oh,
face painted up, stars on his chest and a moon on his belly, and in his own right, intimidating, and then faces off with the Undertaker. Just the fear he expressed with his face, he did it very, very well.
we talked about George the Animal Steel
Yes.
and the opposite of the character, Jim Harris
Jim Harris.
had one of the best careers. I can't remember where it was. And then, of course, he was Kamala in Memphis.
Right.
Or Mid-South. Whichever the fuck it
Yeah,
was.
Mid-South Memphis.
And, coming to WWE. And yeah, you know what? His theme song scared the shit out of me.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. But you have a guy like him, and yeah, being ignorant, I thought that this guy was actually a monster, if you will.
Right,
And
yeah.
that's just the way it was.
Yeah.
You found that these characters, like Tatanka, like Berserker, even Undertaker, were themselves.
Yeah.
Were like that in real life.
Yes.
And I think that's why kayfabe is dead now, because we know the actual person behind the character. There's no hiding it. And I think I knew that as a kid, but I didn't want to let go of the mistake. I guess it's like Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jim Harris as Kamala was very good at what he did. And
Yes.
another one that didn't win any championship in WWE with Mid-South, I'm not quite sure.
Right, yeah.
Or, his other, gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
But still, and you have Harvey Wippleman and Steve Lombardi as Kimchi and the bald guy that was with him for a while
Right, yeah.
in the beginning. Yeah, this was very cool. It was a very cool gimmick, but again, very intimidating.
Yes.
And there was a part in the match where he got up on the top rope and I think he did a flying headbutt to the Undertaker. Undertaker's lying there. Then he gets up and he does another one. And he's just about to go up for the third. And Undertaker sits up. Now, I will say that did scare the shit out of me. Because it was so unexpected. But yeah, the look on Kamala's face.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I believe this was after the match, though. Undertaker obviously did win.
After the match, you have, Kamala leaving with, I think it was Harvey Wippleman and Kimchi and, Undertaker on the outside following, and just the look of fear in his eyes is like I said, just very, very well done. And they did have quite an extensive rivalry, which culminated in the very first ever casket match.
Yes, that was fun.
Yeah.
My Undertaker's been working night and day for you, Kamala. And that promo, like, that was just very cool. And I don't know if Mark Calloway is a blacksmith or he works on, like, stuff like that, but just him hammering the wood for the coffin and just making it.
Yeah. The blueprint for the casket, and, you know, him hammering and then him using the shaver. I think that's what it's called. And then, you know, the whole rest in peace. One of the few times where Undertaker spoke, a lot of times it was either Paul doing all the talking, or, you know, Undertaker maybe would, like, grunt, if you will.
Yeah.
But, yeah, then, of course, later on in his career, he spoke fluently, if you will, spoke in sentences, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, like, Undertaker never talked too much.
No.
It was just enough.
Yeah.
Or just a sentence, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, he would have an interview with Mean Gene, or let's say Nick Todd Pettengill, and it would be like, you know, just a sentence or two. But yeah, Paul Bearer always did the talking.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this was very cool. And, you know, you look at The Undertaker, like, just evolution of The Undertaker.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if you don't like the American Badass, that's fine. But that was just another version that I believe should have happened during that
time. The main event of the evening for the Intercontinental Championship, the Hitman Bret Hart defending the title against his own brother-in-law, British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. And, of course, you got Bret's sister, Bulldog's wife, Diane, watching in the crowd. It was in, of course, basically Bulldog's backyard. He's from, you know, it was in London, but he was from Manchester.
Leeds, if you will.
Yeah, Leeds, England. And, of course, being led towards the ring by the British Commonwealth heavyweight boxing champion at that time, Lennox Lewis.
Yes. Just having Lennox Lewis following Davey Boy Smith, and he has the Union Jack. And, you know, just the presence of this man. And, I mean, you'll find that in the video. Like, you have Undertaker coming out in a hearse. You have Lennox Lewis following the British Bulldog, you know. This was a very good fight feel match, and you got to witness that. And you got Davey Boy Smith and Bret Hart, two guys out of the Hart Dungeon who wrestled in Stampede. You know, these two guys really knew their shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Bret Hart, the technician. You've got Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, with a fucking powerhouse. And, you know, yeah, he had a drug problem and whatever. But it was fine, and, you know, you got to see these two have a lengthy match. And it told the story.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Bret Hart, who was jealous, or not even jealous, but had an issue with his brother-in-law. And of course Diana's in the middle. And you know, we got Diana, who's in the audience, and she's crying, and she's pleading that they get this over with. But just this match, you know, inside the ring, outside the ring, you know, all the wrestling holds you can think of.
Oh, yeah.
In this match was kind of a close call at times.
Oh, yeah. Like, you can regard WrestleMania 3, Savage and Steamboat as probably one of the greatest, or if not the greatest, WrestleMania match of all time. This match has to be among the top best Summerslam matches of all time.
Oh God, yeah. And again, this is in Davey Boy Smith's home turf. And yeah, the match ended in a sunset flip or a sunset roll up.
Yeah, Brett went for a sunset flip on Davey. Davey just dropped to his knees, hugged both Brett's legs, leaned forward, got 3 count in the title.
Yeah, and then I got the fireworks. Diana comes into the ring and she's hugging both her brother and her brother-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And you have them hug and embrace each other. And you don't even know if Brett's going to cooperate. Brett goes to leave twice, and the crowd gets him to stay. He's a face. At the time, I thought he was a heel. You know, as a kid, I was rooting for the Bulldog.
Oh yeah.
You know, it had nothing to do with the fact that I love dogs. But anyway,
Yeah.
this was just amazing. And then,
Mm-hmm.
of course, the ending. Diana holding both Bret Hart and Davey Boy Smith's hands as the show goes off and the fireworks go off. And it's just a beautiful moment. You know, it was one of those things where, shit, I wish I was a kid again.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, we're talking and reminiscing about SummerSlam 99 in 2002 last week,
Mm-hmm.
and the memories come flooding back. This is why we do a look back episode.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about you, but that's where I go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like this that is why we do this. You know, look back and reminisce the days when we were kids. Whether it be, you know, the 90s to the early part of the 2000s and, you know, even, you know, the later part of the 80s and even the mid 80s, whatever. Yeah.
But this was a really good show, and I wish that Vince would get his head out of his ass and go back to Wembley Stadium
Yeah.
for WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or fuck, even another SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I mean, Drew Galloway longs for that day, saying that the UK deserves another Big Four pay-per-view.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
But this was a really good show, and again, the best SummerSlam that I can say with no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
But next, we get to talk about the worst SummerSlam.
Oh, joy. This is going to be interesting.
Anyways,
Go ahead a year and talk about SummerSlam 93.
yeah. Anyways, from me and Matt, this is Killer Kyle. We'll talk to you in a bit. Deuces.
See you.